The Brewers spin a late Saturday night, early Sunday morning trade. The first one, did they give up too much? We'll talk about what's coming back to Milwaukee next and who they gave up on this special edition of a Sunday Locked On Brewer.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Good to have you along. My name is Chuck Freimund, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin, proud host of Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcasting network in the world. Great to be a part of it. It's because you great listeners and viewers of this podcast and all of the Locked On podcasts out there. Special edition of a Sunday Locked On Brewers during a Packers Sunday. I get it. We're all thinking Packers here. But the Brewers have just made it official on this deal. The trade that they have made with the Kansas City Royals. And they trade Collins and Mears for Angel Zerpa, a reliever, left-handed reliever for the Royals. We'll get more about Zerpa coming up here in a little bit. Off the top, I want to say this. Why do I always feel like we give up too much for somebody? All right? I mean, I hate to start this off on a negative note here, but I feel like the Brewers just somehow can't, they overpay for some of these guys. Now, I'm going to go back to Quinn Priester last year. The Brewers traded for Quinn Priester. And obviously, the Pirates didn't want him. He was in the Red Sox farm system, but the Brewers just zeroed in on this guy, that they just had to have him. It's like a guy just finding a girl that, man, he's just got to date this girl. The Brewers saw Quinn Priester, and they just like, man, I'll do whatever it takes to get Quinn Priester with the Milwaukee Brewers. I got to have this guy. And the Brewers seem to do that sort of thing where they just lock in on a guy and they'll say, okay, we'll give you whatever you want for him. But I thought the Brewers gave up too much for Priester. Now, okay, you could argue Priester did have a great year last year. Yeah, he was better than serviceable. He was a top of the rotation type pitcher for the Brewers, right? 13 wins. We'd all take him. Yeah, it didn't work out very good against the Cubs in the postseason in that one game, but I'm not going to hold that against him. But I felt like nothing against Quinn Priester, but I think the Brewers gave up a little bit too much for him. All right. And I was like, why are we giving up so much for some of these guys? And now the Brewers went out there and got Zerpa. And I'm not saying, Zerpa isn't a Aroldis Chapman by any means, but still, the Brewers gave up Collins, who is a Rookie of the Year candidate, right? Finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting. And it doesn't matter what you feel about him as an organization, right? You feel like, well, he doesn't fit into our plans. We got the most out of him last year. And I know Collins fell off dramatically at the end of the season last year. Dramatically. He came back from the paternity leave, and his defense, he forgot how to play defense, and he wasn't very clutch. Now, the Brewers won 97 games, and Collins was a big part of that. He was in the everyday lineup. Switch hitter, very good eye at the plate, never struck out. He appeared to be a Pat Murphy, Milwaukee Brewers type guy. All right. And for whatever reason, after that paternity leave, he came back, and man, and I even said this during the Dodgers series, how come we're not using Collins more? Why are we not using him? Obviously, Collins fell out of favor with the Brewers organization. But still, he might have fallen out of favor with you, but still, he was a Rookie of the Year candidate, providing clutch hits during a 97-win season. Game-winning home run against the Mets in this summer. I remember coming back from 5-0 deficit. Collins hit a walk-off home run. But he was great, I thought, with the Brewers. The Brewers obviously felt they got the absolute max out of Collins. 28 years old. There was no going back. They felt maybe he overachieved this year. That's obviously what they thought. And maybe other teams felt the same way, and that's why they had to have Collins and Mears. And I'm looking at this package. I'm like, okay, why'd you have to give up 2 guys for 1 reliever? You had to give up 1 of your relievers, and Mears isn't going to make you forget about Ron Davis anytime soon, or Raleigh Fingers. I think Ron Davis and Raleigh Fingers should be in the same category. But you know what I'm saying? Ron Davis was the first guy to come to mind, the former Yankee reliever, setup guy. One of the original setup guys in baseball history. But Mears, yeah, he was left off the NLCS roster, But remember, the season before, he made the postseason roster by surprise. And the Brewers got him in a trade from Colorado, and they really liked Mears. But for whatever reason, they thought he was expendable. But I can't imagine the Angels were sitting there and say, well, you want Angel Zerpa? Well, you're going to have to give us not only that, we want Mears, and we want that Rookie of the Year candidate, Collins. Can we have both? Oh, sure. I don't know. I just get a little worried. I feel like the Brewers give away too much for talent. Yet, when other teams come looking for our guys, all right, if Zerpa is worth a solid reliever and a Rookie of the Year candidate, what is Freddy Peralta worth? What is Fred? You better be asking a lot for Freddy Peralta, okay? Because I feel like you're overpaying for guys, yet when teams come to you, teams might be underpaying and trying to lowball you. Don't be giving away Peralta. If a guy like Angel Zerpa is going to go for a Rookie of the Year candidate and a solid reliever, and this guy's not even a starter. He was a starter at one point early on in his career. But I don't know. We're going to talk more about what he brings to the table. And again, it's not that I dislike him. I just think that the Brewers, I don't like this disturbing trend I'm seeing here in the last couple of years where we're overpaying when we make a trade. And then when we trade our guys away, it's like, man, that's all we're getting back in return for an all-star closer, an all-star starting pitcher. So, like I said, if that happens, if Brewers are trading Peralta, we better not be getting lowballed on that one. Okay? Because we're certainly getting lowballed on some of these trades that we're sending guys away for. So, yeah, I like Collins. I don't know. I was disappointed the way it was ended. I thought they could have used more, but the Brewers obviously identified him and thought he does not fit into our future plans. He does not fit into our future plans of Churio, Frelick, Badio, Mitchell, Lockridge, Perkins, and Yelich, if you want to include him out in the outfield. He does not fit into the plans. He's not better than any of those other guys. I think Collins is definitely. If Collins isn't a fourth outfielder, I mean, I feel like he could start on this team, but at least a fourth outfielder, you're going to trade him away. Man. Get a better return on that. Now, again, I think the Brewers looked at this Angel Zerpa like Quinn Priester in terms of a guy that they just got to have, right? A guy they focused in. And I use this like when the Brewers or the Packers back in the 90s, when Brett Favre was a backup quarterback for the Falcons. Ron Wolf just had to have Brett Favre, even though Favre was the third string quarterback with the Falcons. But Ron Wolf traded a first-round draft pick for Favre. And at the time, you're like, why are we trading a first-round draft pick for a third-string quarterback in Atlanta? Well, obviously, Favre turned out to be worth 10 first-round draft picks. Maybe that's a little much. And Priester, the Brewers gave a load for Priester. And the way he pitched, and who knows what kind of career he's going to have. And they got team control. It might be the Brewers ended up getting the best of this deal. But I've been saying at the time, man, why do we got to give up so much for some of these guys? All right, we'll talk about Zerpa coming up next and what he brings to the table. Coming up next on a special Sunday edition here of Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Locked On Brewers, brought to you in part by FanDuel. It is an NFL Sunday today. And get in on the live plays on FanDuel. FanDuel, their live plays are great. A buddy of mine was on a different site, and he tried to make a live play on a college basketball game yesterday, and they jerked him around. They were jerking him around and all that. They're closing, opening, closing, and then finally the line got out of hand, and he couldn't go on the game. You don't get any of those games with FanDuel. FanDuel, you get the player prop updates as the guys heat up, live spreads, money lines adjust instantly. You could bet who's going to score the next touchdown, drive results, totals, all that and more. They're live betting in all sports. But we're talking about an NFL Sunday is especially dynamite. So You want to get in all the action, the middle of it all, while you're watching the games? FanDuel.com. Place your live NFL bets all season long. College, pro, basketball, NHL. FanDuel. The game moves fast, and so do you with FanDuel. How about tickets? You want tickets for next Saturday when the Packers are in Chicago, or if you want to go to a comedy show, maybe you want to go see a concert. Maybe there's a concert coming your way. Well, the World Cup as well. They have all the tickets for the World Cup on Game Time. Game Time. You pull up the app. The layout makes it so simple to scroll through the matchups and compare the great seating views. Pick a game, tap a section, have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print, because the seat view feature is great. You tap on the seat, it's going to show you exactly the view to the stage or the view to the field or the court. All the prices are up front, which I love. No last second guarantees. You're not going to continue to tap, and all of a sudden the price continues to escalate. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Every match, every concert, every event, go to Game Time. All the events you're looking for, they're all there on Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $20 off your first purchase. Download the app, create an account, promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go to Game Time today. Special edition here on a Sunday of Locked On Brewers on an NFL Sunday. Feels weird here on a Sunday. Now, usually, like during the baseball season, I'll tape this podcast like around 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. But, you know, there's nothing going on in baseball on a Sunday. And then the Brewers, in the midst of 10 below degree temperatures here in the state of Wisconsin on a Saturday night, just you never know how these trades are going to consummate. And obviously, they're coming off the baseball winter meetings. I'm sure the groundwork was laid there last week. And this seems like the Brewers' MO. They go to the baseball winter meetings, do virtually nothing, and they get back. They sign Baddoo. They make a trade with the Royals. So they did this last year, and they've done this in other years as well, right after. So not surprised that the Brewers made this move. Now, as far as Angel Zerpa, all right, I got to get over the fact that they traded too much for him. But ground ball pitcher, number one, which bodes well in AmFam Field. I think we all agree on that. He's not a big swing and miss guy. Not a big swing and miss guy. He's got a terrific slider, 97 miles an hour, left-hander. Again, if you go to YouTube after this video or this podcast, you know, when you watch the highlight reels, of course, when you go to the highlight reel of every player, you're going to see the best of the best, right? You're going to see all the good stuff right there. So if you go see a highlight reel of him, you're going to say, man, this guy is phenomenal. This guy is Aroldis Chapman. But the Brewers like the fact that he's got a minor league option and he's got 3 years of team control. Because when you're a team like Milwaukee, small market, you always got to read and look at the contract and see how many years of team control does this guy have. Angel Zerpa, reliever, 69 appearances for the Royals last year, a 3.97 earned run average. Yeah, I'm not saying I dislike this guy. It's good pitcher, good part of the bullpen. It does tell me I feel like the Brewers are going to be trading another one of their relievers, and maybe they trade another one of their left. Maybe they trade DL Hall. I don't know, but you get it for DL Hall because he's always hurt. Would Ash be part of the deal? I mean, they're loading up on lefties out there, unless they think Ashby's going to start. But I like it. I like Zerpa. Maybe Robbie's not coming back. Or McGill. You know, we told you last week the rumors of trading McGill were hot and heavy. He's a right-hander. But the bullpen looks real good for the Brewers. Real good for the Brewers. And adding this guy to the bullpen, which I'll say this, you're making a strength a little stronger by adding Angel Zerpa. You are. So with relievers year to year, that's the one position you just never know unless he's a special player if he's going to be consistent, right? Most relievers, sometimes they have up, down. Sometimes they never bounce back. Closers the same way, except for the special ones. But Zerpa, right now, looks like he'll be toward the back end of that bullpen, I would say. He's got that kind of stuff, right? They gave up Mears. They gave up Collins. And I hope Angel Zerpa, if you're going to give that, this guy probably is projected somewhere at least the 7th inning, right? I don't look at him as a journeyman, but as I didn't say off the top, I felt I gave up a little bit too much for him. So that's the trade that was just announced by the Milwaukee Brewers. They made it official after all the physicals and all that. They made it official, and this was reported again late on Saturday. And we just wanted to make sure that this was going to be a done deal, and it appears to be it is. All right, we'll be talking with another podcast coming up on Monday. And on that podcast on Monday, I'm going to talk about Pat Murphy. I want to get into Pat Murphy. Don't be taking Pat Murphy for granted, Milwaukee Brewers. All right, he's going in the final year of his contract. Just because you think you got him locked up and he's not going to manage anywhere and he's in his mid-60s and this isn't his swan song, don't be taking Pat Murphy, the manager of the year, consecutive years, and I want to say the best manager in Brewers history. Yes, I said it. We'll talk more about that on Locked On Brewers coming up on your Monday edition. Special edition, Sunday edition of Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Have yourself a great Sunday, everybody.